extraordinary deeply feeling. Like it becomes like your journey in life, to somehow find your way back to that. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. And because your body has become conditioned over time to not feel, to suppress. And when feeling is your greatest gift, and your body has been like literally programmed to not feel, you really have to fight like hell to get like an ounce of feeling back, like an inch of capacity back to feel. And so, and I really think the last 20 years of my life if I didn't go on this journey of sort of losing it and then fighting like hell to get it back, I don't really think I'd be able to give the gift and help people in the way that I'm able to today. It's almost like I had to journey through the underworld, like through the darkest depths of the mind. It's almost like I had to experience like the mental illness, like in order to really to understand suffering and to be transformed by it. And I think that's that ultimately, like when you start to recognize like suffering is the hand of God, right? That suffering itself is grace. And that's a very difficult thing to like you can't wrap your mind around. It's only something that's understood in the heart. But there's a part of me that very well understands like, okay, like I couldn't, it's not possible for me to show up the way that I do, right? Even if I had, just stayed like the deeply feeling child that I was, the extraordinarily deeply feeling child that I was, right? Even if I had stayed that way, I wouldn't have understood the contrast. I wouldn't have understood the fight. I wouldn't have understood, why we deviate from that, why that connection, that intuition becomes severed within ourselves. I wouldn't have understood that. I wouldn't have understood what not to do as a parent, or what kind of situations and environments and relationships with our children actually cause that deviation, cause that disconnection. I wouldn't have understood. And so I think, part of our role in this life, our leadership role, our act of service truly comes from the ways in which we have suffered and suffered the most in our life. And so everybody's got like one thing that one way at least that they've tremendously suffered, and or at least one way that they've been really, really alone. Because when you're alone, that's really when you suffer, right? It's like you're alone in something, you're alone in some way that you feel, you're alone in a traumatic time in your life, and you just have to go through it alone, and you don't get the help that you need. And really it's when you are alone, and unfortunately, but this is the case, right? It's when you are alone that the greatest change and transformation can occur within you, and therefore you become the strongest. It's when you're alone. And as much as we don't wish that upon anybody, right? My entire life now is a dedication to make sure that no child suffers the same fate that I did, right? And so of course I don't wish it on anybody, but there's a part of me that knows fully, right, that if I had the help that I needed, I wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't be able to serve in this way, And maybe that just means like, without the suffering, I'd be serving in a different way. Or maybe because of the suffering, I'm now able to serve on a much greater scale than I would have been able to before, because suffering has carved such a capacity in me for compassion. It's carved such an aliveness and such a depth in me. Even though that, that extraordinary capacity to feel was there from the beginning. But maybe what's here now is infinite wisdom, just insurmountable, just a wisdom in every moment and every thought that crosses this mind. It's just truly, truly profound. And I had to experience life, right? Wisdom only comes with life experience. And so, it's truly my goal to share everything that I've learned 3, almost 4 decades that I've been alive, and what it really took me to become this alive, right? To become my true self, to become my authentic self, to be the person that I always dreamed of. Even over the last 20 years, I would have like glimpses of her, every now and then. But she was always like a vision, like glimpses of a vision, that I would see. She was always inside of me. But I don't really have glimpses of her anymore. It's because I am her. And, in that sense, right? And actually, just for me in general, like I'm living my dream. Because my dream was to be this version of myself. It was to be this person that I am today, that I show up as today, is to be this person that I am, that I show up as, with my mother. That I show up as, with anybody in my life. And so, I'm living my dream, and I can't really say that I want anything more because I feel so fulfilled. And if there is something that I would hope for in this life, it would be that I get to save every little girl. That I get to set, that every little girl out there gets set free. And that shows up as her most confident self in her relationships, in her family, in her school, in her work life, and ultimately in the impact that she has in the world and her legacy. Because I know what it's like to be a girl that stood in the corner that was completely invisible. And I was invisible to myself for 20 plus years. And so to really come out of that, I understand what it takes to climb out of that. And so, I want, my life is just to make sure that we can help our children from having to make such a severe, such an intense journey in their life, that we can really do it, correct from the beginning. And it's a true honor, it's just, and I can't even say it's that, it's just what my life has amounted to, and it's just what my heart is for. And so if you're on this journey too, then I really hope to meet you, and I hope to help you, I hope to serve you, and I hope we can all just serve each other and lift each other. Because I know I'm not the only one that knows what it's like being afraid to be myself. I know many of you watching and listening to this right now know that struggle too, and some of you are still going through it in your life right now. And I often wonder what it would be like if I just felt seen from the very beginning, and if I didn't have to go through this entire journey of like trying to find myself and be myself, right? Like, I'm already myself. Why do I have to learn now how to be myself? And that's kind of sad when you think about it that way, right? But it is what it is. And if we could just allow our children, right, nurture them as they are, see them as they are, and give them the space to be who they are, then maybe they wouldn't lose themselves in order to find themselves. And the implications of losing yourself are so frightening, especially for women, for girls that grow up and leave the home, and even at home, right? Like, the situations that we think that we think about them possibly experiencing or finding themselves in, like, the implications are so dangerous when you are not connected to your truth and what feels right for you. And many of us women, we have situations in our lives where we can relate to that, and we wish that we were strong enough to say something, to speak up. And so the whole point of having children is really so that we can do it differently, so that the next best thing, right? If we weren't able to help ourselves, right, we're able to help the next best thing, which is our child. And I think at the end of the day, that's just as good, if not better, if not more rewarding than my own life. And I've experienced this in countless of children that I've worked with, and countless of children that I've helped in just like 25 minutes of talking to them. The change that I've managed to witness in them is truly like it brings me to my knees. And that's how I realized that's how this became my profession, helping children grow confident. And I realize and I understand how important it is for us adults, right? Not just parents, but teachers, staff, administration, everybody that comes into contact with a child, to be on the same page as to really what truly produces a confident child. And so now I've, dedicated my life to working with parents and adults, and I hope to work with teachers and the education system as well. And I hope that you'll join me in this movement. Because, as young girls, especially in society, we're taught so much, more than boys perhaps, right? We're taught to gaze outwards, to look outwards instead of inwards, right? To always look around and see what everybody else needs. And because we're trained to do this so much, and at an early age, we really lose sight of, we don't even get the chance to develop a sense of who we are. We don't pay attention to who we are. And many of us grow into women that are just like, I have no idea what I want or who I am inside or what I like, what food I like, what I want to do. Like if I have off time, I have no sense of what I want. I have no sense of how to make a decision. I have no sense of, what feels right for me, what feels true for me, my intuition. I don't even know what that is. And now having healed after 20 plus years of not being myself, and my intuition returning to me, and me deepening into my intuition every day, every moment, I now realize what intuition is. And now my decisions are based on a feeling, right? Whereas before it was so difficult for me to make decisions. It felt like the hardest thing in the world, because there was just so much chaos and noise up here about criteria that I learned about what I think I should do and how I could make a decision. And really there was just so much noise because I was resorting to my mind, whereas the decision was really something that was supposed to come from my intuition. And this is only something that I discovered after intense healing. And so I'm sharing everything that I know with all of you. My personal story, right, of really being crippled with social anxiety, debilitating, from a very young age. And then also my professional work of over a decade, confidence coaching and working with children and teaching kids all around the world how to speak English, right, through confidence, through unconditional love, and really a relationship that really sets the stage for optimal learning. And then I'm also sharing the intense healing that I've done in my own life to overcome insurmountable trauma. My dad died when I was a kid, and my mother wasn't really my ideal mother before then. She was very disconnected from her emotion, and I think I felt that as a baby right from the beginning. But after he died, her behavior worsened 10 times, and it really was a nightmare. And so there was just unbearable trauma, truly, I don't know, I think I would say over my dad dying, I really wouldn't wish my mom my mom's trauma on anybody, like my mom's behavior on anybody, because that really was the hand that I really had to overcome in this life. And maybe it's the reason that I show up the way that I do. Maybe it's the reason for all of my compassion, and maybe it's the reason why I'm here today, serving in the way that I do, and the reason I've been like touched so deeply. And sometimes that's just the way that it happens. You know, our greatest teachers in this life really are, you know, our fiercest opponents. And sometimes our fiercest opponents are our mother. And for some of you, it could be your father, right? But the fact that it's one of your parents, like, that has a really profound impact on you. And so, you know, at the end of the day, it just makes you who you are now, and who you are now is, as you move forward, it's the person that will ultimately serve the world. And part of my mission, part of this movement is to produce leaders like myself, to produce women like myself who show up as their confident self in the relationships, in the relationship with their partner, in the relationship with their family, with their mother-in-law, with their boss, to show up as their true and confident self, and to not be afraid of being that true self, and to have the conversations that are necessary in order for those relationships to thrive, and in order for us to be at peace and to follow what feels true for us, because that's ultimately what leads to inner peace. And so this whole movement is it's going to change the future for all women, young and old, every woman that's alive. And I'm grateful that you're here with me today, and I really look forward to the future and to benefiting all the generations to come. I love you. Thank you for being you. Go be you, and be the confidence your daughter needs, and be the confidence that you need, because her life is really, and her identity, her sense of who she is, her joy, her happiness, her fulfillment in life, so much of that is banking on you in your relationship with yourself and how you show up in your life. And we don't realize this, but if you're somebody who has experienced this even remotely from your own parents, from your mom or from your dad, and you realize how much of who you are today was shaped by them, right? The answer to that is always more than you know. It will always be more than you know. And so the same thing for our kids, right? If we want better for them, we have to work on ourselves. There's no shortcut. There's no other way, right? We have to do the work on ourselves, and that's lifelong work. That's a lifelong commitment, but we do it. We do it for them, and the cherry on top is really that after a certain point, right? Pretty early on, when you start doing this work, you realize how much you benefit in your own life, in your own being, and then your connection to it perhaps changes, because you see how you benefit, and you're like, whoa, I'm a changed being. Like, I'm showing up differently in every relationship, in every aspect of my life. I'm behaving differently. My experience inwardly is different. And so, the effects of this work are truly, they go on and on and on. But maybe it all starts with our children, and then it ends with us, perhaps. Or maybe it starts with them and then goes through us and ultimately ends with them, and we don't know. But they really deserve everything. And I know we know that as the parents and caregivers and even teachers in their life, we know that they truly deserve everything. And so if so much of that everything is really us, right, comes down to who we are, then of course, without a doubt, we'll do what we need to. We'll do the inner work. We'll look at the things that we have never wanted to in ourselves, about ourselves, in our past, whatever it is. Because ultimately we just want the best for them and they deserve that. And that's the only thing that maybe we know above everything, right? That they deserve everything. And so may we give them the best life possible. Maybe give them the best inner experience possible. Maybe give them the most success and fulfillment and joy that they can possibly experience in their own being, in their relationships, in their interactions, in their encounters and conversations. May they live such a rich life inwardly. And may they be so confident and true to who they are. May fear never ever stop them from making the decision that is best for them, that is true for them, and going after what they want and the kind of life that they want and the kind of relationship and family and work life and legacy that they are destined, that their highest self is destined for. May we set the stage for that. May we create the environment for that throughout their life. And may we do that, simply in our relationship with them and how we conduct ourselves with them, how we interact with them, how we treat them, how we respect them. It's an extraordinary life. There's so much richness to have and to hold and to experience. There's so much love. There's so much knowledge and information, and life is just, there's no shortage. There's an abundance of wealth and everything. There's an abundance of richness. There's an abundance of love. There's an abundance of magic. And may our daughters experience every bit of that. And may they live such magical lives that they never even dreamed, and that we certainly couldn't dream up for them. There's only good stuff going forward. There's only beautiful things to come. And maybe serve the example for them. Maybe model true love and authenticity for them, unconditional love and confidence for them. Maybe show up as the person that we always knew we could be and we were supposed to be. Maybe show up as that person for them. I love you so much. And this journey is truly an honor. It's an honor to be with you and to be alive with you and to be on this path with you. I love you. I'll see you.